Hello everyone, it's Henry here from Henry Creations, coming to you with the first ever live workshop on my channel. So basically, we're going to be painting the Black Widow batons from the new movie. We're going to do the LED version. So on that last workshop with Frankly Built, we're going to be doing all the electronics. Really simple, don't worry about it. And also we're going to be painting the Thor's hammer, the Mjolnir. And today with us is the amazing Geeky Faye Art. She is just incredibly talented. She has a really fresh mind when it comes to 3D printing. She's come up with great ideas that we're going to be talking about here today, and you'll see. But like, we're so used, to sanding and filling and painting and priming, all these things, that we forget that 3D printing is for more things than just props. So that's why I wanted to bring her in today. You're going to see that she just has that fresh mind and ideas that we should all know about. So guys, without any further ado, let's do this. Hey Faye, how you doing?
Hi, Henry. Oh my gosh, we're here. We're live. It's happening.
It's happening. It's happening. Yeah, so sorry for having to push the live streams back 1 week, but it just came out perfect.
Everything, everything has worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. I think this was very much, this was fate intervening. I think this is much better now. We're together. We have all sorts of cool people watching us. It's a Saturday night. Well, it's a Saturday night for us. I don't know if it's a Saturday night for everyone out there, but this is fantastic.
This is so exciting.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. So guys, if you want to drop comments, questions on the live chat, you can do that too. I actually have a few from last week that I asked on Instagram because I believe that we're going to be doing this last week too. So I saved a screenshot of that, and also some people have asked me on Instagram today. So if you have asked me anything there, I'll also answer that. So yeah guys, so this is so exciting. I just can't believe it's finally doing this. But so the goal for today, is that you learn, if you have never used an airbrush, you learn the basics of airbrushing, and you learned how to prepare a perfect base coat for any kind of metallic paint, So this is why I brought the Thor's hammer and also the batons, because they just have the perfect, example, and they just have the perfect surface for it. The hammer is very smooth, it doesn't have a lot of detail, and the other ones have a lot of detail, and a lot of crevices and cracks and things like that you're going to be able to see how they pop up. So I actually brought you some sample pieces. I'm going to see if you guys can see this better if I just zoom in here. So I brought some samples for you that I painted the other day.
Your samples are much further along than mine. I've got mine here as well.
You have yours.
Yours are like,
so that's
yours
why
are like looking amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. We're going to be talking about that post-processing. If you guys print things in FDM, or even if you guys have purchased these files, which that's awesome. If you have, say in the comments if you have. And so you guys can learn a little bit about post-processing FDM prints, and also resin, which doesn't take a lot, but it is still something to consider, So yeah, these are the samples that I have for you guys to see. I have finished painting these. They have, let's say, 4 different materials, or 3 different, 4 different finishes, 3 different materials. So I actually did a lot of research on metals that could work for this prop, because the movie hasn't come out. These are the batons, right? In fact, I have one here for you guys to see in its entirety. So you can see it here. This is the one, right? So I've got 2 of these, and these are resin printed.
Look at that.
They're so, I'm so proud of these guys. Like, the model turned out amazing, and so yeah, they have like different finishes, and because the movie hasn't come out yet, I decided to do a little bit of research and see what metals could fit in these props, because you look at the design and it has some kind of mechanics here that it enables it to kind of collapse and retract and things, and and extend, so she could hit people with, and also the mandibles at the top, so she could taser people with. So that's really exciting. So I found out about a few materials that are used for guns and things like that, weapons, and also coatings. Coatings are like things that people put on top of metals to protect them from rusting, and things that make the metal a bit more interesting, a bit more functional. So you'll be learning about that too. Tomorrow we're going to be layering all those colors. So I'll just delve into that tomorrow, but I'll just briefly go over it today so you guys can get excited, because it's going to be amazing. And also, because you guys asked me for this, I have brought a sample, okay, of the Pirates of the Caribbean medallion here. And
it's so good, it's so good, it's so good.
I love this one, and I've been experimenting with powders and graphite rubs and things like that until I came out with a perfect, durable, like I can go with my nails and it doesn't come off. It's just crazy. No dust here, no powder, none of that. So this is the most durable graphite rub, whatever you want to call it, finish that I've ever found out. And so just to give you, I'm just going to reveal now how you can do this. I'm not going to do it today because I don't want the powders to get mixed with the paint, because it can really affect, when you're painting with the airbrush. But this, people, basically, you have a black gloss base, for any kind of polished metal, which we'll talk about that later, but any kind of polished metal is actually black. So that's why you do a black gloss underneath. And then you go with the arc-light colors, airbrushing, rattle cans, so you can do that as well with that. There's so many people that just use spray cans, and it turns out amazing as long as you have that black gloss underneath. So that's the base for any kind of glossy metal, right? So for this one, that's the case. But the problem with the graphite rubs is that you roughen it and you buff it in, it looks so good, right? But then over time, you touch it and you handle it and stuff, and it starts going, or the luster starts going away. So you're like, oh no, it looks so good on camera, it looked so good on the first day, but what happened to this? It just went away, and it's not metallic anymore, or when you do weathering with oils, which we'll do next week, but you do that and it just loses that sheen, it just goes away. So the trick...
But you've got the solution for this, don't you?
The solution for this is...
my God.
Yeah, and the people are like, oh, let's just clear coat it on top, right? But the clear coat, even if it's the 2K, can leave a very plasticky sheen, because it is in fact a resin, and it's plastic, so it'll kill that metallic sheen, and you end up with a perfectly plasticky medallion, so we can't clear coat it on top, right? So how do we make this stick? So Faye, how would you make something stick to something else? You would use glue, right? You just put in glue and then stick it, right?
Not necessarily.
No?
And you know what? It's actually really funny, because I'm realizing, even though I've never worked with graphite powder before, I have actually done something that's slightly similar, and it's actually to do with nail polish.
Oh yeah?
I've done powder metallic shimmers on my nails, and I actually think it might work quite similarly. And so I'm wondering, and I'm guessing here, because like I'm actually not super experienced with this side of things as much as I am with the kind of the design and printing side of things. So everyone out there, don't think I'm an expert. I'm actually I'm learning here a little bit today too. But I'm gonna guess that it might have something to do with maybe creating a texture on it, because so that it has something to grip to, because a lot of times things don't stick well to things that are perfectly shiny and smooth, but will stick much better to something with just the slightest bit of texture. Am I close? Am I onto something?
That's a really, really smart answer, because guys, like when you have smooth texture, there are no atoms, things you get underneath and grab onto. Graphite is kind of little shards, and they kind of shard into the surface because it has paint, right? So it just kind of goes into it. But if you rub it really hard, it'll just go away. So yeah, that's the thing. So when you spray something like with a glue, like with a lacquer or something like that, and then you leave things on top, that glue will dry with the things on top. So it just makes sense that for graphite rubs, you just have your gloss, your black gloss base, then you clear coat it, and when that clear is about 80% dry, you take the powder and you start rubbing, and you start polishing as it cures completely. And that will both go into the paint, into the clear coat, and also stick to it. So actually, I try, but like there's nothing on my nails, there's nothing in there. It's just I try to, and this model has texture on it. See if it focus properly. this model has texture on it, you know, because I modeled this on ZBrush, and there's a lot of texture on that. So it would be easier for my nail to kind of, you know, grip onto there and start, you know, scratching off, but it doesn't. Like, it just doesn't. Like, I'm applying a lot of pressure here. Yeah, there's nothing there.
So there's no additional top coat on this at all.
There isn't.
It's just kind of pressed into the previous coat as it's drying.
Exactly, and this takes me
to
the next topic, and I think it's because people are so used to doing the same thing that people do all over again and over again that they forget the principles of the materials that we're using, you know, and they forget that the clear coat is also a glue because it dries. It is sticky and then it dries. So, you know, when you clear coat, of course, if someone comes in with a box scratcher or something and it scratches this, you know, when you have a clear coat on top, there'll be like a thin film that box scratcher has to go through at the beginning before it goes to that metallic layer. But believe me, if you have a box scratcher, you're going to ruin things anyway, you know, whether it's clear coat or not. So like, yeah, so like, this is the proper way to do it. In fact, this is the most durable finish I've ever tried. And I have a Lumalaster that I tested the other day, and it is durable. You know, it is kind of similarly durable, let's just say, because it has a clear coat on top and it just looks the same. So that's why either Lumalaster or do a graphite rub or powder rub. Especially for gold, because gold powders turn out amazing, but not a lot of gold paints are good enough, in my opinion. So yeah, guys, like, what do you think about this? If you have any questions, comments, things that you guys want to ask about this, leave them there, and we'll kind of go through some questions at the end as well, and as well as now if we see any questions. So yeah, let's just talk a little bit about ideas. And I know, Faye, that you have a super fresh mind, like I said before, and you want to bring some freshness into the workbench, you know. So why don't you show us what you've been working on?
I've always been I have no shame in saying this. I've always been a bit of a weirdo. I don't necessarily like doing things the way they've always been done. Yeah. I like trying new things, and I like experimenting. And I was gonna say, I've been working on something for my next video, because I have a YouTube channel as well, and if you aren't subscribed, then you should definitely subscribe so that you can see this video.
Guys, Geeky Faye Art, go subscribe right now. Close this tab and go subscribe to her channel. Now open a new tab though.
But so doing things kind of in a different way is something I'm usually keen to do. I think that there are so many methods out there that exist that are tried and true, and there's nothing wrong with doing them. But I like trying new things. I like seeing how things work, or if they don't. So that's usually kind of what's motivating me. So like, one of the things that I've been experimenting with lately is using flexible filaments, or TPUs, in FDM printers to create things for cosplay props. And it's a well-known thing that TPUs are really interesting. They do really crazy things in an FDM printer. They're also hard. They're hard to print. So if you don't have like a direct drive 3D printer, you might struggle to print flexibles, and like even then you still have to have a well-tuned machine for it. But they're cool. They're still usually quite a little limited. Many of them are not actually that flexible. And actually, hold on. I knew I had some stuff over here. Nice. And often quite messy as well, as you can see here, with this really kind of very horrible benchy. But it's also entirely possible to get much nicer. This was look at that. This was actually a disaster of my own making, as I like to do time lapses for my 3D prints, and I attempted to do a time lapse without actually changing any settings, so that it was still set for PLA, and it was a disaster. But as you can see, you can actually get really nice smooth prints clean with FDM, or sorry, with TPU, really flexible. Yeah. So yeah, this is Ninjaflex, which is one of the most flexible filaments on the market. It's about 85A Shore. Like that's kind of how the stiffness is measured, how flexible it is.
Oh wow, that's great for a filament.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like this is again, like this is real squishy.
Yeah.
This is real squishy. So like this is one of the softer ones. But as we were actually saying a little bit earlier, you can't really sand this, and you can melt it with heat, but it's just a little tricky to post process. So when I learned about Color Fab's VarioShore TPU, I was really curious. I was really interested in that. And what makes it different is that it foams, basically, when you print it, depending on the temperature that you use. And actually, I was going to say, I will very, very briefly boost an entirely different channel. If you like 3D printing and you like science, like hard numbers and stuff like that, I highly recommend CNC Kitchen. Is a wonderful 3D printing YouTube channel. He's highly technical, and he does graphs and data crunching. It's fantastic. I love it. But he actually did a really wonderful video about the VarioShore TPU, in which he kind of broke and precisely exactly how much it foams at which temperature and whatnot. And it turns out that there's a sweet spot around 220 degrees Celsius in which the filament foams to be almost twice the volume.
So it fills in,
which is
so you end up with no lines because it foams and just covers that little gap.
More or less, actually. Whoa. Yeah, you actually it really kind of it's like it plumps.
Yeah,
it's like it plumps, and so you end up with virtually no layer lines.
Wow.
You end out with a print that is effectively half the weight, so very lightweight.
Yeah, for its volume.
Your spool of filament also goes further, because I know that I actually turned down the extrusion multiplier down to, I think, 0.58. So again, almost half. So that the spool of filament I have will last forever, which is good because it's not cheap. It's a rather pricey filament. So I was very curious to kind of see what I could do for cosplay with this. Now I'm currently working on a Clara cosplay, Clara from Pokemon Sword.
Oh, amazing. And
she has she's very fashionable, and so she has a bracelet. And I thought, yes, I could totally make this out of Ava foam. I could make this out of basically could have been made out of a range of things. But I thought this was a good opportunity to test out these flexible filaments and stuff like that. So I've printed up a Storm, and I've tested a bunch of things, and I am happy to say that I have a final piece, and I love it. And I'm pretty much filming the video right now. That's what I've been doing this weekend. But y'all are special, and I'm gonna let you have a real quick sneak peek of the final result, which is here. Now I'm realizing that because it's white, it might be a little bit hard to see, but it's almost perfectly smooth.
That's crazy.
Now I have done a little bit of post-processing to this, basically with a Dremel, but like this is the thing, is that the result, it turns out, is an awful lot like Ava foam. I can't believe it. It is incredibly lightweight, as you can see. It is flexible. It's really flexible. Like I can bend the individual pieces. It's real squishy, and it feels real nice.
That is a breakthrough right there, guys. Like that is a breakthrough,
isn't it?
It is.
I love this because it's a single piece. It was a bit tricky to print, and there was cleanup involved.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can sand this the way you would sand Ava foam, but it's a single piece that was just 3D printed, is incredible. So this is very much the kind of stuff that I love it. It gets my motor going.
That's amazing.
I very much like these new things. But I only have FDM printers. I don't have resin. So like for the Black Widow batons,
mm-hmm.
I just printed them on my Prusa. And like the thing is that you'll hear a lot of people kind of talk about how, like, you know, you really need resin to print props and stuff like that if you want to get a really smooth finish, to which I say, yeah, absolutely. Resin is amazing. And if you have access to a resin printer, print that stuff in resin.
And if you don't have time, then yeah. But if you have time,
you don't have that, you're not out of luck. You can still have fun. You can still join the party if you don't have a resin printer. And that's kind of like what I'm a huge proponent of is find something that works for you and do that. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exactly the way everyone else is doing it.
Just accessible.
If it works for you, you know, then it's good. So I definitely have my Black Widow baton pieces here.
Amazing.
Just printed in PLA. This is just PLA printed, just a 0.1 millimeter layer. I didn't go super crazy on it. And there's a little bit of, I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to really show in detail. There's a little bit of layer lines, but they're really not that bad. They're honestly quite minimal. And there was a few bits that under extruded, which I have just filled with filler.
Wonderful.
In fact, where did it go? There you are. I use for my filler.
Amazing.
I use this stuff.
Yeah, what's that called?
Mr. White Putty R.
Mr. White Putty R.
It's actually a Japanese brand called Mr. Hobby. And I was gonna say, is it even focused on it?
Yeah, perfect. There you go.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me, camera. Look at the thing. It just wants to look at me.
That also focuses though. It's wonderful.
This stuff is obviously for kind of made for like model planes and stuff like that. But it's a pre-mixed filler as opposed to kind of the stuff where you have to mix two parts and then you have a limited work time. I mean, this stuff does also harden quite quickly, but it's pre-mixed, and it's honestly, it's fantastic. And like I've still got a few pieces here that I haven't sanded yet, so you can kind of see
the mandibles,
where the filler is.
Easy to use. To just put it on there and just rub it in.
Yeah. Real easy. And like, again, this is one in which I have sanded down.
Amazing.
Again, I don't know if it's actually focusing. I'm sorry if you can't see this, guys. I'm trying to hide my face.
I think that's
the camera likes my face too much.
You can see it very well there. Yeah.
Hide.
I'm gonna bring the laptop
there we go.
closer.
All right. But yeah, so it works. Actually, it works fantastically, and you end out with a surprisingly smooth result with relatively minimal sanding. Just sanding by hand. I have my
amazing
little sand tools. And it's a little bit of elbow grease, but the results you get are real good. And I imagine that with a little bit more time, I could easily get these to a point of being able to apply your super amazing painting techniques, Henry. And I could probably produce a result that is just as good as one printed in resin.
I think so. That's what it's all about, really. Just knowing the techniques, and if you have to spend a bit more time sanding, if you want to get it to look smooth, or smooth as, or at least smooth enough so the metallics really enhance that print, then you put in the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have a Prusa, and it served me really, really well. Up until I designed the batons, actually, I was printing everything on the Prusa and just putting the time and effort, and I didn't even realize what filler primer was, which is the spray with the putty that you can fill in.
That's filler primer is where it's at. That's good stuff.
I didn't even know that thing existed, because here in Spain, you go and you tell them, filler primer or like spray de relleno. They don't even know what that is, So there's a word for that. So it's aparejo. So until I learned that, I was trying to look it on Google, but there was nothing showing, So I was like,
didn't exist.
Yeah, and Rust-Oleum doesn't ship everything to Spain, just a few paints. So I couldn't even, because I knew that they would sell it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I would ask, and yes, this brand. So yeah, I didn't even know what it was until I started with the LED Stormbreaker, which I couldn't even use it for because I can't. There's lights under there, so I can't cover it up. So I was like, I held on my cans and things. Yeah. So I couldn't use it. So in that sense, it taught me to sand really well and know the grits and get to know the sandpaper really well before I just cover things, because it's easy to just cover and then uncover, but sometimes it's tricky to reveal those details back, because if you cover too much, some of those details are so intricate. On the texture, for example, on the medallion, if you were to sand.
I think that's why I like the being able to kind of like hand apply
the
filler.
That's easy to control.
So that you don't fill in details you don't want filled in.
Yeah, exactly. That's easier to control, yeah. We have some comments here. Let's read a few of them. Hey, Making to Learn. Hi. Hey, Quinton S. How you doing, man? Hey, Anton. How you doing, brother? Hey, Jamie. How you doing? Most proud prop you've made for the both of you. So, Faye, what's the most the prop that you feel most proud of?
Oh my gosh. It's actually really old now, and I don't have it anymore, which is a shame. But I did a body cast of myself once.
Whoa, that's wonderful.
It was a pain. Basically it was done in my friend's garage. And so I was just like lying on the floor.
Whoa, with algae in it, and
it was very uncomfortable.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But the results were good, and I was able to get a torso. I was able to get a clean torso, and I sculpted a chest plate.
Oh,
right. It was for the Baroness from G.I. Joe.
Oh wow.
And so I sculpted it in clay, oil-based clay.
Yeah.
And then from there I did a mold of it.
Oh wow.
I think I must have used just like a urethane rubber. I say must have because it was years ago.
To cast it or to make the mold
so
of
many
it?
years ago. Here, let me.
If urethane rubbers are mostly for casting armor pieces and things like that, to cast it, you use that.
They pick up the details well, and you can basically just brush it on. So I was able to just brush on several kind of coats of it. Let that kind of cure, and then I basically made it was just a really, really quick and dirty kind of hard covering for that.
Yeah.
And obviously flip the whole thing over since it was just one side, pull out all the clay, and then I did the final cast in fiberglass.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, so it's really durable.
Which sounds super uncomfortable, but because it was molded to my body, it wasn't too bad. And one of my favorite things to do, because I'm a jerk, because I'm mean to people, when I wore this to conventions, and whenever somebody asked me if it was latex or vinyl, I would dare them. I'd look them dead in the eye, and I'd say, if you want to know what it's made out of, make a fist.
Oh yeah.
And wrap your knuckles on it. It's just go on, do it as hard as you can. And people did it because they're stupid, and every single time they would bash their knuckles on fiberglass.
Whoa.
And they would be in so much pain.
Wow.
I'm also realizing I am out of focus. I am so sorry, guys. Why am I out of focus?
So guys, for those of you who don't know, fiberglass is like a fiber of glass that you use to reinforce mother molds, and it's one of the toughest, most unbreakable materials. It is a little bit toxic if you're not careful with it, but
I did this basically outside.
Yeah, right. And if you're not wearing like hard gloves and you get a sting from those, your skin itches for days.
Oh yeah, no, it's basically what car body parts are made out of.
Exactly. They cast in because they're so light. They're so light and so tough, And then with all the things on top and the putty and things, that's how they do it. Yeah.
And admittedly, I still think one of my fondest memories of doing that very, very mean thing was, gosh, I don't know that I've ever shared this publicly. But I met Tom Felton. Once at a convention.
Draco Malfoy, guys, if you don't know who that is.
Yes, Draco Malfoy guy, who is very, very nice, very sweet, very lovely, very polite. And he asked the question, and I dared him to, and he did, and it hurt.
Oh my
God! I laughed at him.
Oh my God!
And then it was fine. We all laughed, and alcohol may have been involved. But yes, so that's probably my proudest prop.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I was gonna say I do have another one that I can show, and I'm realizing I should have grabbed it beforehand, and I didn't. So Apologies, everyone. You got to see my belly real quick so I can grab something.
That's okay. Sure.
But I'm gonna just set Satsuki down here. Satsuki can hang out down here.
Read some comments in the meantime.
But a fully 3D printed thing.
Oh wow!
What's this?
Is that from? No, that's not from Kingdom Hearts, is it? No.
It is from Portal.
Portal. Oh wow!
Companion cube.
Oh, that's amazing.
It is a pretty much life-size companion cube.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
It's actually quite heavy.
Yeah.
Because it is solid PLA. And
oh wow, yeah, that must weigh a ton.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but also my favorite part. Actually, I'm gonna have to lift it up a little bit so that it's in the camera. My favorite part.
Oh wow.
Is the fact that it's an actual storage box.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you can keep it and use it, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's why it's like I don't actually think of it when I think of props because
it's like a box.
Like
it's functional.
I'm using it.
Yeah, it's functional.
It's functional.
That's amazing.
Not just a prop, but I'm actually like this is a cool one because I did not use an MMU for this. This was all just single.
Wow.
It's full of stuff. This was all just single color prints, done in a bunch of pieces.
Oh yeah, so you didn't paint it. It was just with different colors of filament. That's beautiful.
Yeah, just different colors of filament, and then just glued together. So it's nothing. It's nothing that anyone at home couldn't do themselves. This was not a overly challenging thing to make.
Yeah.
It just required patience and a lot of filament.
Oh yeah, well that looks so good. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to her channel yet, she does have a lot of interesting videos and new and like she has one with vases that she modeled and she painted because they're very polygonal and have like a lot of edges. So she painted the vases with Copics. And she shows the process and how relaxing it is and how good that could be for poop. There it is. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. That's like
paintbrushes in it.
Coloring mandalas, but in 3D.
I had too much stuff.
That's amazing. Like imagine you were coloring a mandala, but in 3D with space. So there's a lot more room now, you know, and like it's just so interesting, and it must be so relaxing.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's why I call it the coloring book vase. Yeah. Because it feels a little bit like coloring in a coloring book. You can just kind of zen, like you can kind of zone out a bit, and it's very relaxing, and I love it. Though I will say that this particular vase is a Patreon exclusive of mine. Yeah. This one's not actually available online, but you can do this sort of thing with any vase. Like there's lots of cool vases out there that you can color with, but it's one of the tricks. Ooh. Sorry, Satsuki. I didn't mean to bump you there. You're just taking up all sorts of space. The trick is definitely alcohol. Alcohol-based markers work really well for coloring PLA prints. Or actually, I've heard that they also work well on TPU, and they also work well on PLA. And actually, now I'm very curious to I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I could try, but I haven't filmed everything. Okay, give me a scrap.
Hey everyone!
I'm now super curious.
In the comments. Hi Carol, how you doing? Hey Prop Weasel, how you doing, man? Yeah, so yeah, that's amazing. What a beautiful prop.
Just an alternate way, you know. So like, I'm literally gonna do a science like right live on stream. Oh wow, amazing. Yeah, it looks really nice, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, so it works on TPU.
Oh, there you go, guys. So that's the way to paint TPU, if you're wondering.
Works on TPU as well.
So,
but yeah, like trying new things, trying different things.
Experiment, just fail at things and like fuck up. Like there's nothing wrong with that. We just discover something else and it'll serve you with something totally different or something similar. You never know. But yeah, to answer Jamie your question for me, I think you guys know it. My most or the prop that I'm most proud of is the Stormbreaker. I changed my life around that prop, and luckily I'm here now to tell you about it. So yeah, I just was in love with it since the minute I saw it.
Basically the coolest.
Oh, thank you. It took me 2 years of research, trial and error, iterations. I did 4 iterations. A lot of research, like 2 masters to kind of know about materials and things. You're going to see about that in a second. But
That's
things,
crazy.
yeah.
2 masters.
Well, I needed to learn how to 3D model, and I've always been curious about, you know, video games, you know, so I just joined the 3D art for video games masters and the concept art. And they both served me really well, and I apply all the knowledge I got from that now to props and everything that I do. So yeah, really proud of that one. But you know what? I think that's about to change now, baby, because we're going to be painting 2 of the coolest props I've ever designed. And the hammer is very dear to my heart, so painting again and seeing, because actually the first one that I made is at a friend of mine's house, so I'm going to put both together, you know, back to back and see the differences. It's going to be massive. So I think I'm going to be super proud of that one and the batons. So guys, I think without further ado, I'm going to show you really quickly the materials and things that we're going to be like learning to emulate. So I have prepared a few slides for you, so you can see. First of all, let's just see what we're going to be, the 3D models and things, right, that we're going to be painting. So basically, these are the Black Widow batons. With the LED option, they have a button that we'll be able to press, and that will turn on the LEDs, and a little battery. You know, they will see on the following live streams. You know, so it has all that crazy, simple but crazy enough looking engineering that I think anyone could put in a prop. And maybe after these workshops, you'll be able to kind of figure that out for yourself. I also ask me anything about it. So these are all the pieces that you know are in the batons, and then there's a rod that I had to get and then modeled around to be able to fit the wires through. But yeah, it's simple. You know, there's the batteries, the simplest circuit that you can find anywhere. You learned this at school, but we're going to be reviewing everything, so don't worry about it. And this I will do on that 4th workshop with Frank. And the Mjolnir, it's also really simple. It just everything goes over a rod, and this one you're going to be able to spin around and see, you know, if you can break it or not spinning it, because I doubt that you're going to be able to. But you know, also has really cool templates for the leather that we're going to be tracing out. And these, you know, I think it's a fresh idea to just print out templates and trace things that you need to glue on top. So those 3 things on the right are the shapes of the leather, you know, around the handle. So we're going to be using those 2. Also, you know, I did a little bit of thinking on how to make that spinnable and also disassemblable if you wanted to. And yeah, these are all the pieces. It's just simple. They print it really well. There's not a lot post to do other than sounding that big box. and the pommel, I printed most of it in resin except the head bits, except the runes. The runes I did print in resin. But yeah, and also the references for the Black Widow batons. You can see that the movie hasn't come out yet, so that's why I've had to do a lot of research. But I think they're going to turn out amazing. And for the hammer, we have a lot of reference now. It has appeared in so many movies now in the MCU that we have plenty of references. The hammer has changed in every movie, okay? But I picked the references that
frustrating that.
Yeah, I know, they changed the design a little bit too. Like the first one was really different. I really love the one in Endgame.
Dare they?
Yeah, and the Dark World one is really awesome. And to give a shout out to Prop Shop, who went under sadly, but the artists have gone to different studios in England. They made that beautiful one up there that you can see, and I think is the one that I'm going to be basing mine off of. And also that
is that machined aluminum I see.
Yeah, that piece is, because it's simple. It's just machined aluminum. But we're gonna emulate that. You're gonna see how easy it is to do that if you follow my steps. And that one on the bottom right corner, I think Mary Rose Payne on Instagram, Bettina Bitch, if you want to follow her, she's amazing. She's painted the Mortal Kombat armors and things and props, and the Aquaman ones, the Ragnarok ones. So I think that one she painted. So she is just amazing. So big shout out to her. Her Instagram name tag is Bettina Bitch, you know, without space or anything. So yeah, follow her. She has the funniest name tag in my opinion. So yeah, definitely follow her. But yeah, so let's just talk about that machined aluminium, that little piece on top of the head. I have prepared a few slides for you to see. They're on, and they should be able to hear me now. Yeah, microphone. No? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, they can hear me now. It's just I forgot to add the mic on those slides. So we'll explain that later.
No.
We'll just hang on. Let's just get.
All that.
No, it's okay. I'll explain that tomorrow. It makes sense to explain it tomorrow. But for now, let's just see how the airbrush works. I have my airbrush here on the chair. It's just a little kit that you can get from Amazon. I apologize for the audio issues. I forgot to add the microphone on those slides. But yeah, so basically you're going to be learning how to use an airbrush. This is the kit that you can get on Amazon. It's really cheap. It's like €100 plus. It has the compressor already, so that compressor will last you a lifetime. And by the way, guys, if you feel inclined to donate, your donations will show up here on the live stream. So yeah, guys, if you want to donate a little bit of your Dutch to us, yeah, then do so, and we thank you for it. So this is called a double action airbrush. The way it works is you hold it like this, right? And when you press here, there's like a button, and you press, it releases the air. So the more you press, the more air is released. And when you pull back, that's where the paint gets mixed in. It comes from this cap, it goes down, and it gets mixed in with the air, and that's when it shoots out. And that's how you can paint, right? So this is called a needle. I have exposed it here for you to see. And also, I don't like to paint with a cap on. I don't know, it's easy to, because sometimes you have to pull it in and out and stuff, but this is a needle. And there's different needle sizes and also nozzles. It's like a printer. It has like a nozzle where you can determine the width of the fan or the spread, the airbrush. And of course, if you paint really close, it will be like a little dot. But when you go out, that's where it's like a cone of paint.
And wider
yeah,
it
gets exactly. But also you have to control the distance, so that the paint it dries really quickly. So you have to control distance in order to get that paint on the surface. So double action airbrush, right? To clean it, we're going to be using acetone or IPA. I tend to use acetone, but a friend of mine, Daryl, who you'll meet tomorrow, told me that acetone sometimes can damage the airbrush internals a little bit. So I'll be using...
I was going to ask if there was a difference between acetone and IPA for cleaning, because they're quite different chemicals.
It depends on what the paint is made of. ArtCloud, for example, has a thinner itself that I'll be using. That you can, thinner is something that dissolves the paint even more. So if you do that enough, you'll clean the airbrush, right? Well, we're going to be cleaning the airbrush after each time we use the paint. So before we, just think of it as the first step of using any paint, because the first time we'll do is clean it actually. So I'm going to turn the compressor on, and I'll show you how you can clean this. And also, by the way, you have to use some kind of protection. This is a respirator. I have the windows open and I have a fan here that I'm going to turn on. And people say, you know, for the sake of the tutorial, I'm not going to use this so you can hear me, but if I put this on, you'll be able to hear me anyway. So I'm going to do that for my safety. And yeah, you'll see. Yeah,
guys, safety is super important. Like, this isn't a thing that is you can do it sometimes and sometimes you can skip it. This is super important. You really gotta do the safety stuff, regardless of what the safety is for the specific thing you're doing, whether it's airbrushing or casting in resin or sanding with a super fine material that's creating a lot of dust. You definitely want to do the safety. You want to wear the mask. You want to wear the goggles. You know, like it's not cute, but like take it from me. I'm a femme, and I like to look good and look fabulous, and I still wear safety gear. I have a video about it on TikTok about doing good safety stuff when you're a femme. It's important. You can't skip it. So like, just because you're doing a stream and stuff like that doesn't mean that it's okay to skip on safety.
It is.
You're doing it for your health, and that's important.
Exactly, and there is a
that's my little PSA.
Yeah, and like for us makers, because we're so used to this, masks during COVID, like the first wave, wasn't as weird. I went with my respirator.
Yeah, I wear them all the time.
Yeah, I went to the supermarket with this on, and they were like, "What the fuck?" But yeah,
you were like, "What? I already had this."
They didn't get close to me, which is what matters. But yeah, so if I do this, you say that it comes out, right? So I pull and nothing comes out, just air. You can't see anything, right? But the minute I start pulling, that's where you can see paint, right? I'm going to zoom in.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see this better. So look at that. Against that wood there, right? So the more I pull, the more it comes out. You see? So it's just a matter of, controlling that pressure and then that pulling motion. So a good tip when you clean your airbrush is to put your finger, but with gloves, or even with a piece of towel. You fold it up like that, and you put it in front of the nozzle. And what that does is makes that air go back inside, and you hear some bubbling, and you'll see some bubbling happening. I'll show you now. You'll see there you go. Some bubbles happening there, you see? And that cleans the airbrush. That runs the thinner, whatever you're using to clean it with, back and forth. And that is a great way to get like clog out, for example. And then use the cap, you dump it down to make sure it goes down. And there it is. It is pretty much clean. So right now the air is pushing all the chemicals out of the window. That's really important, okay?
And this was with the IPA.
This was in fact, I'm gonna go and get the IPA. I have it in the other room. So I'm gonna give you the live stream for 1 second. You can answer some questions, so I get the IPA. And because I'm gonna do that and see what the difference is. Oh, all right. Earphone down? Okay.
Well, while we're on intermission, I apologize. I apologize if it looked like I was not paying attention temporarily and was down. I am a cat. I'm a cat mom. And my little one decided to come in and say hello. I'm not sure that my microphone is strong enough for anyone to have heard a little mewing in the background. If you heard,
that's wonderful.
Heard cat sounds.
If that sounds, that's better for the live stream. I'll be back.
But I was gonna say, she's come to join us, but she's shy and she doesn't want to get on camera. So I'm terribly sorry about that. if we have any cat fans in the audience. She's here, but she's shy. Though hilariously enough, I have just been experimenting with basically a failed Ninjaflex Benchy, and just experimenting with the Copic markers on it, and it's actually incredible. I'm so kind of amazed at how I was gonna say it needs to have a little bit of light, but the colors actually blend beautifully, and it doesn't come off at all. Like I'm amazed actually, as someone who experimented extensively with the markers in the PLA. It always kind of rubbed off the PLA unless you sprayed it. But with the TPU, it actually doesn't come off at all. So I may have stumbled upon an even better material. Cat's name is Mabel, and she has a brother named Dipper. So if you happen to know what my cats are named after, then you get many nerd points because they're named after characters from a TV show, and it is a nerdy TV show because I am a nerd, a big one. So I am a geek. It is in my name. It is implied. But
all right. So if anyone guesses
that was
correctly,
fast. You're back quick.
Yeah, if the room's right here.
To do a little soft shoe and everything.
So if anyone can guess, listen. If anyone can guess the name of your cat correctly before the end of the live stream, we'll give some hints. I'll give you guys the file to print the Scarlet Witch tiara.
Oh my god.
Let's do this.
That's really cool.
Let's do this. So.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we have the right kind of nerds in the audience today.
So you'll be giving some hints, okay? So you decide how to manage that. I'm happy to give a file away, so it's okay. Speaking of and speaking of giveaways, guys, we have a really important giveaway coming up. Not coming up, but actually right now. It's gonna start, and.
Literally now.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be giving away. Are you guys excited for this?
Come on.
That's one. They can hear me now. So guys, these things. Okay. So guys, this now. No, but they can hear me now. They will be hearing me after the delay. But guys, I'm going to be giving away a resin printed in high quality, okay, resin printed kit, DIY kit, so the printed raw pieces in resin of both of the batons, the LED batons. So that right there that you can see are the rules. I'm going to be posting, don't do it now, you can start following us now. So I remember that I told you that I had a surprise for you three, and this is it. So you guys have to follow all of us. So Geeky Faye Art, Of Earth, Frankly Built, and me, to be able to enter in this giveaway. Okay, so you can start doing that now, and tomorrow morning I'll be posting the official post on Instagram. So guys, what are you waiting for? Start following us, because this is going to be amazing, and tell your friends to enter. This is not a file, this is something physical, and with that kit and these workshops, you'll be able to finish your batons, okay, with the electronics and everything. So I'm really excited to be able to give this away. I'm so thankful for you guys that have helped us reach 5,000 on Instagram, and I can't wait for the next 5,000. So guys, thank you so much for the bottom of my heart. This is so exciting for me as it is for you. So you can imagine, if you're excited, you can imagine how excited I am. This is gonna, so shipping cost included, okay, so don't worry about that. I'll pay for that as well, and yeah, depending on where you live, it'll get there closer or sooner. But yeah, guys, like I'm so excited about this. So thank you for the support, and yeah, you can start following us. Someone says, what?
Get on it.
Yeah.
Get on it. You know what? You know what? I was actually considering a giveaway thing as well.
Whoa.
And it won't be anytime too soon. So like, this is very much not an official notification of giveaway, but this is a motivation to definitely follow and keep tabs, because I was actually thinking that because my cosplay plate is quite full at the moment, in spite of the fact that I have been told many times that I would make a good Black Widow. I don't know when I would be able to make a full Black Widow costume. So I was actually thinking, because I'm already making a Black Widow baton, but I'm not going to have any use for it. So I might possibly be giving away a fully finished version of the Black Widow baton as well to a future follower.
Let's do that.
But as you can see, the baton is not done, so this is a future thing. This is a maybe, and it would be done my way. It would be done. Oops, sorry, I'm grabbing the microphone. It would be done the Geeky Faye Art way.
Yeah.
So it might be a bit different.
Well,
but it will have LEDs.
Wonderful. So guys, stay tuned for that. Follow her. Make sure to follow her on our YouTube channel and Twitter as well, and Instagram, all social media. And you also have a website, so if you guys want to check out her website, it was geekyfayeart.com. Yeah.
No, it's geekyfaye.art.
Oh, geekyfaye.art.
No, to be fair, geekyfayeart.com will redirect.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah,
you have the dominion to kind of redirect you to that. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, it'll be a special collaboration, a special Geeky Faye Art Henry Creations collaboration.
Hell yeah!
And I think it'll be very cool, and it'll be 100% one of a kind.
Amazing.
So, I definitely think that is a thing that is worth staying tuned for. I do, however, always have like 8,000 things that I'm working on, so it might be like December.
Oh well, that's okay. Like that's okay.
So you're just gonna have to follow to find out.
So I'm going to explain what the first step is going to be, and I'm actually going to start painting. So remember that we talked about ideas and trying to think of something of new ways and things that make our lives easier. I actually made a lot of tools and printed tools to make the painting process of the batons easier. So you can do this if you download Fusion 360. You'll be able to do this for any of the files that you have. So basically, for example, this right here, this is a stand, okay, that I printed. I printed like 20 of them for each of the pieces. I just started printing.
I definitely need to get some of these. I need to make some of these for sure.
Yeah, so
get my hands on these.
This is one of the coolest, simplest ideas. It makes so much sense that I've ever had. It's
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so smart.
So basically, you don't have to touch the pieces. You can see. This is the test that I printed, and you can rotate it around, and it will stand there with the clear coat drying and everything, and you won't have to worry about it. So, besides that, I of course went a little bit further than that. I made, for example, pieces that can go into a drill, and will help me make the scratches that you saw on that aluminium. That couldn't hear me, but you saw that. And I'll be able to put this in a drill, and I'll rotate it. I'll put the scotch right here, and I'll create those beautiful imperfections. So I've gone above and beyond, and also I have made a lot of masking tools. And masking tools, I want you to imagine that you have to put tape around the different materials here to be able to paint these with airbrush, because with a brush you can do that, you can hand paint, but they're so tiny, and my hands are naturally shaking. You see there, I'm not nervous, it's just how my hands are, so I can't brush that in, so I have to use an airbrush. So for that I created a lot of things that will help me cover certain areas. As you can see now, for example, here, this is basically covering the tube that black bit that you see, you pull it out, see? So what that allows me to do is airbrush the metallic on the rest of it, because you can see the metallic shows through here on the corners, all the scratches, right? So I painted everything black first, clear coated it with a 2K. I'll show you how to do that at the end of this live stream. And then I started applying these things, you know, that help me cover certain spots. So for example, this one goes here and another one goes right below it. So that will only, in fact, this one goes here. That will only show that gray metal in between these guys. So that was super useful. This one here actually covers that lip as well. So now you're only seeing that gray area. So this is so quick. Instead of wasting 3 hours of my time masking, I probably, when I take the tape off, it will peel the paint off, and that's also a bummer. So I hate that. So it just takes me 3 seconds to put these things on. So that's the basic concept of masking tools. We'll use them tomorrow, but for now we're going to start painting. So yay! So I'm going to put my magic box.
Goes on this one.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah, this is so genius. I love it.
Yeah, you're playing with them, huh? Amazing.
Yeah. No, I've got them printed out. I was a little confused at first because I was looking at the bottom link, I think it is, and I was like putting it on, and I was like, no, it's not the right size. I'm so confused. What did I do wrong? And then I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's for this one.
Except for the mandibles, I have a masking tool for pretty much everything. The masking tool.
It's honestly, it's genius. It is absolutely genius. You are doing something. You are thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
Thinking, how can I save myself time?
Yep.
How can I use 3D printing to make my life easier? Which is basically what I is going through my head 24/7. How can I use 3D printing to make my life easier? Which is why my entire workroom is full of 3D printed things. You know, holding tools and you know, putting up my filament. Yeah. That's very much my thinking as well. So like that is genius.
That's what 3D printing was.
Because you're right, taping things is a pain in the ass. Absolute pain in the ass. In fact, actually, I was gonna say I've still got Satsuki sitting here, and I remember how I was gonna say apologies for the slightly naked butt. I remember when I was painting her, I did her skin first. Don't know why. I just did. And then I was like, oh, I should have not done her skin first, but I don't want to have to redo it. So I just was like, I'll just paint.
Yeah.
I'll just tape over her skin so that I can then just spray on all the white areas. And it was such a pain. I hated it. I hated everything in that moment. My life was terrible.
It was because it looked so good.
Very
and then...
dramatic, as I am very dramatic. Yeah, this sort of thing, not having to tape, is just it's chef's kiss.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
thank you.
I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it all day.
This is the
all
by
day,
the way,
every day.
this is the rod that we'll be using. As you can see, it's hollow. So yeah, I'll teach you about that on that 4th live stream. For now, I'm just gonna place the pieces on each of the stands, right? Because I printed them with PTG. They just go in and they have some stringing, so that helps me kind of stop that. I should have actually tapered out those sides at the end so I could have a little bit of room to grab the stand, and then therefore not have to touch the pieces. But I'm just gonna place all these guys on here. See how easy it is, and I don't even have to touch anything. So I mean now. But I'll kind of clean this and I'll be blowing air before I paint each of the pieces, so they kind of get rid of the dust. So really quickly.
Makes life easier.
Yeah, like it just takes me. It did take me a few days to model these things, but like the amount of time and the experience itself is going to be so much better for me, you know.
Yeah.
And for everyone.
I'm already just like so excited to have something that makes life easier. Like.
Yeah.
For real.
And like also for
again, I haven't gotten to the painting part yet, and I'm already excited about it.
Wonderful. And like just if you sell your files like I do,
part.
You have to think about the clients, you know, and like they don't want to be frustrated. They just want to, you know, splash this on there and here and just, you know, have it done. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. Of course, it's not gonna.
I actually. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I meant to mention earlier that for kind of the people in our audience that are maybe not so familiar with designing props, designing models for props and for cosplay purposes, it's not necessarily the same as just designing any old thing.
Right.
Because props are going to be carried potentially by a cosplayer, like someone like me. And so things like weight and size and kind of the ability to be able to disassemble and reassemble things for travel.
Yep.
These are actually really important things. And they are things that a lot of people overlook when designing stuff for cosplay. And especially if the person designing it is not a cosplayer themselves, they might not think about these things. And I think this is also part of the reason why some of the best like props and cosplay things are designed by people who wear cosplay, who wear costumes, because they're familiar with how heavy something is after a few hours of wearing it. And so like one of the things that's like very, I guess, important to me is the ability to take something apart and put it back together, because like I live in the UK, I live in London, and a lot of times the conventions I go to are not in London. So I need to be able to travel with them. And the fact that you, Henry, have designed things to be able to be taken apart and to be able to take apart and reassemble easily, that is huge.
Thank you.
That is a massive thing, and people should respect.
Thank you.
You should recognize and respect how big of a deal that is.
It's all about the experience, like not only what it looks like on the pictures you're going to take, but how it's going to feel, you know, when you have it in your hand. If is it going to be durable? Is it going to be, you know, easy to transport? All these things, you know, come into play, you know, and you can't anticipate them until you have had a few of those experiences, or a few of those bad experiences. So I've had some of those. That you can really understand how important this is, and then you learn, and you know, you start applying these things to anything you do. You know, anything really, any area of life that you can learn from, and just do things better the next time.
Anton wants to know when you're going to make the Stormbreaker disassemble.
I love Anton. Anton, for those of you who don't know, is a friend of mine. He's a patron of mine, and I've known him on Instagram since I started, and he's a client of mine, so he's purchased a lot of my files, and he knows exactly. He knows exactly that the LED Stormbreaker can be taken apart entirely, and except that piece of handle. That it makes sense to be just one solid, but it's just half of it. But you can take every single one of the pieces apart for easy travel. You can half disassemble it easier.
No, he's just being cheeky.
Yeah, he was just like, show off, you. But you can take it apart, and that's something that I definitely was thinking when designing it. I actually have my notebook filled in with lots of sketches and things that I had to do, you know, to be able to, because most of all I wanted to learn, and I wanted that prop to change me, so it potentially did, and it in fact did. So I tried to learn as much as possible and make everything as good or as best as I could, any area wise.
I would say you did a damn good job.
Thank you.
Sir, I would say you did a very good job.
Thank you.
I figured that while you're getting set up to paint, I was gonna say since this is very much a do as we stream, that I would also do a little bit of sanding.
Beautiful.
Work on just cleaning up my pieces a little bit more as well. Another very kind of like tool that a tool that I use a lot. Is actually just some of these little files.
Yeah, let me give you the
files for sanding as well, because they can get into they're basically like jewelry. These are like jewelry files, but they do a really good job of just kind of getting into small. Which again, you've got these nice small pieces. Like this is the mandible, a little bit on the end.
So tiny.
That's just small. It's hard to get a piece of a big old piece of sandpaper in there, so these files are kind of good for that, and I quite like that.
That's right.
They work a treat.
I have to definitely get some of those. It'll help me a lot. Guys,
I am a fan.
If you haven't noticed, this is the disc of the hammer. I already did a test paint job on this, but I didn't do it well. I applied Alumiluster wrong, but I did do at the end the circular anisotropic scratches, that's what it's called. You can tell now. Let's see if I turn this one, this one. There is like there is like a diameter here as like a reflection that spins because it has those scratches. So when you mill a disc, you mill a disc out with a mill, you'll have those scratches, and that's why it kind of spins. So we're going to create that look, but this is just half of it. I'll show you how to do the whole thing, and we're going to do it on this one. So let's just paint everything black. So talking about paints, I'm going to be using Alclad. It's a brand that you can get that paints, I think it's in England, in fact, the company, but they have several distributors in Spain. You can get it from Ammo by Mig Jimenez in the north of Spain, so you can get it online, and they'll bring it to you in about 4 days or so. In the States, I am not sure, but I know that you can get it. So maybe even, I think in fact in any hobbyist shop they have it. They have that brand. So in the States that, in Australia I know because my friend Chris Stanley from Cosplay Chris painted the Mandalorian helmet with Alclad. So I know that he can get those. So therefore in Australia also you'll be able to get those. And in the rest of the world I am not sure. So I apologize. You can Google it and see what you can find. But they are great. They just come right, you just put them right into the airbrush and just start spraying. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you. I'm going to put the respirator on. And guys, I think you're going to be able to hear me correctly, but if anything, just tell me. I think there's a question there. Let's see. If you reach for Swiss Batson Makers files, you'll find them in all kinds of crazy shapes profiles. Swiss Batson Makers file. Ah, yeah, for the files. Amazing. Yeah, for the files that you have, Faye. Someone just helped us get those files. Yeah,
it's gonna say.
So thank you.
This is a smart human here.
Thank you.
A smart human who's sharing this knowledge.
Yep.
Thanks, Jerome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know that these were called Swiss patterns. That's news to me. I was gonna say these ones specifically are Blue Spot brand. I don't think they were very expensive, but this is very much just something that I suppose in a way I've always been a bit familiar with because I did jewelry once upon a time because of course why not? I've done everything at some point almost.
Wonderful.
And so these I feel very comfortable with these little files. But again, they really work the treat. I wish that I could show y'all just how nice and smooth. I was gonna say basically the combination of just PLA, the Mr. White Putty R, which is again like basically my secret weapon, and these little files gets me a result that is so nice and smooth. It's almost insulting. Oh, wow. It's almost like how dare you be PLA? How dare you be so good and be PLA? Like everyone's always kind of ragging on PLA. I apologize if this is loud.
That's okay.
Everyone's always kind of ragging on PLA for it not being, it's hard to sand and it's just not the best thing for pretty much anything, but it's kind of good at everything. It's very much, I suppose, a jack of all trades and master of none, which I feel like sometimes is a bit like me. Yeah. I do a little bit of everything, and I am a master of exactly nothing.
That's good too. Like you
good at a lot of things.
Yeah, that's actually that's something that I think now especially we have to learn about many different techniques. There's no way around it. Like you have to know with YouTube, and you just do. Like everyone is teaching something nowadays on YouTube, so it's just easy to learn. Really are.
Yep. Which I think is kind of amazing, honestly.
It is like really. You don't have to go to a library and get a book, that's beautiful too. But now it's so much more accessible.
What's a library?
Yeah.
I'm joking. Of course. I'm joking, of course.
It's so...
I'm very much making a joke.
Okay. we knew. But yeah, it's just so easy nowadays to just learn anything, you know. So just take advantage of it and ask us any questions you have about anything that we do. Go subscribe to Frankly Build, to Uncle Jesse, to Geeky Faye Art, to everyone that is sharing knowledge, you know. Joel from the 3D printing guy, like Daryl from the 3D printing nerd, like the Broken Nerd, like all these people that share their knowledge, you know, for you for free. So like, do it. It's just easy nowadays to learn anything. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna teach you how to spray the black on here, so you get the idea. So there you go. Make sure it's on.
So this is what you've got here now is a piece that's been primed. Yes.
Yeah, this is actually, I sanded this already, so it has the filler primer. I did sand it back, and now we're going to prime it with the gloss black from Allclad.
Okay.
So I'm just blowing on it.
Double priming.
Yep, blowing on it to get rid of the any dust particles that might be on there. It's important. The pressure for these Allclad paints is 15 psi. So there's like a thing on. I'll show you real quick. There's a thing on here. There's a thing on like a valve little thing here that you can twist, and this other thing here shows you the psi and the pressure. So you just manually regulate it until you meet what each of the paint companies, you know, specify for their paints, or you know, their pressure. So yeah, just blowing air on it, and again, push it down like that. Push this button. Lewis is there, and when you pull back, watch. You start seeing it's going on there. You see? Now it's darker. You'll be able to see as I keep painting, but I can rotate the piece and just go light with it at first. So it's just like a dance. Go back and forth, right? So just, there we go, and now it is darker. See, if I paint on here, you can see, right? So
it's a bit out of focus.
I know. Let's see if I can click on this thing. Boom. So if I paint here, pull back, you can see it's really small. If I pull back, it starts fading out. So you want to kind of keep a mid distance, like 3-4 inches or 10 centimeters from the piece. Yeah.
It's so light.
I know.
It's so surprisingly light.
That's what I like about it. It's not like a spray can that you just like waste all your can in like 10 seconds. So yeah, I don't have to go all the way down because that is going to be hidden by the next piece. So just the base here. And this is a gloss black paint. If I up the pressure, the air pressure, you start seeing how it just turns into gloss as I spray it. But since I'm going to be using the 2K clear coat, which I'll be teaching you how to use too, that's going to turn into glossy. So I just want these pieces to be black. Matte or glossy in batches is fine. So next one, and yeah, just keep doing this until you finish painting all the pieces with the black paint. So yeah, see? It's like a dance. There you go.
I almost feel like we should like time you to see how long it takes.
Oh yeah.
To
all
the pieces.
I am sure that I'm not going to be painting all the pieces. I'll do the rest off camera tomorrow in the morning, so we can just
probably smart.
Yeah, so we can just keep with the live stream. You know, I was gonna, you know, do a few, and I'm gonna
show us what it looks like.
And again, I have the fan on and the window open. Okay, it's not really smart to do this outside because the wind brings the particles. So just ventilate it really well, the area, the room that you're in. You know.
And this is why I don't have an airbrush just yet, or rather, it's not why I don't have one. I do want one, but I would definitely be only using it outside.
Yeah.
In England.
Yeah, well, that if you can't inside, then that's the only option.
Yeah. I feel like the window for doing airbrushing for me would be approximately like maybe 3 months before it gets cold again.
Oh yeah.
Damn you, England!
Oh well.
How dare you?
Oh.
Of course, the solution to all this is that I just finally get like a proper workshop.
Yeah, that's what.
But that is a work in progress. I think would require many more patrons than I currently have.
Well, guys, go to Patreon.
London's
subscribe.
expensive.
Yeah. Go to Patreon and if you guys are interested in supporting her financially, a little bit each month, just go and support her.
It's obviously a tough time. It's tough times for lots of people. So of course I always am very understanding of people who wish to help but are unable to. But obviously, those who can and do get my my eternal thanks. In fact, actually, I just got a new thing to make my videos even cooler.
Oh yeah.
Get even better shots, and it was all possible thanks to Patreon.
That's amazing.
Patreon.
Yeah, so like that's.
And I shared it on there exclusively.
That's the thing.
So I'm not gonna
right, don't
spoil
no.
it just yet.
No, so that's the thing about Patreon.
Cool.
You can you release content for the people that follow you. They can see exclusively for them. They can just have it for themselves. So they'll be learning things that the rest of the people won't be able to see. Behind the scenes footage, tips and things. I used to do a lot of tips for like design and painting there. I have closed most of my Patreon tiers. I only have the first 2 because I was giving away files and I couldn't keep up. So I just have a small family.
It can be a lot of work.
Yep.
For sure.
And it was a treat. It was a deal for them. Like it was so good. Anton, for example, got a few files. He's amazing. Also, shout out to my Patreons. Everyone who I've got like 14 now. Yeah, Ben, Jordan, Anton, Darren, Kevin, Kev the Viking from Instagram. He was one of the first ones. William, a friend of mine that I met here in Madrid. He's an English teacher. He's studying linguistics. He studied linguistics and now he's studying something like linguistics or like language learning, but like with engineering like terms and things like computer engineering, as if like they learn how the structure of the language happens through code. Like code is similar, like semantically it's very similar. So they study that, so that's crazy. And he was the first Patreon that I had, and he actually suggested.
Ah, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
and as Yeet Master says here, subscribing to Patreon is in fact very poggers. I agree with this.
Yeah.
Though I will also admit that this is a term that I only recently learned because I am old. I love it actually. I love the fact that we have entered an age that there's all new language for me to learn. I love the evolution of language. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
And I love when I encounter a word and everyone's saying it and I'm like, what's this word? I don't know this word. Like, oh my gosh, this is new to me. And then of course there's much Googling.
Mm-hmm.
There's many Googles that occur, at which at the end I'm like, okay,
yeah,
cool, poggers, all right. I know now. I've learned a thing. I mean, if I can learn Japanese, I can learn
anything.
I can learn, new English words.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable. That seems absolutely reasonable. Oh man.
I think like learning
new
words in any language is just so cool. Like you have them, like you understand their soul, in a way. It's like you can use them. They're tools now.
Language is alive.
Yep.
It is an ever-evolving thing.
Yep.
Which I think is very cool.
Yep. In fact, it is. For Patreon, I modeled, for example, because I had them decide what file I would model next, and William suggested the Orient from the Never-Ending Story, right? And it's this awesomely beautiful necklace with 2 snakes making like an infinity symbol, but like they kind of
intertwined
together.
I saw that in your store.
Yeah, right. So he suggested that because he's a fan of the book and the movies, and he grew up with it, right? So I was like, he has an emotional connection to that piece somehow because he grew up with that, right? So I modeled that, I put it on the shop, I gave it to them for a few months first. And
it looks amazing too,
thank you.
By the way.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun on ZBrush with the scales, but I actually sent him a painted our medallion. I used the same powder technique that I showed you earlier, and it turned out beautiful.
What a mensch you are.
So yeah, I am happy that he's in New York now. So I shipped it to Italy with a family member of his, and she'll bring it to him. But yeah, I'm really happy that things like that make connections.
That is very good. I was going to say, it was actually asked in the chat if you'd be designing Black Widow's gauntlets as well.
Ah, right, people.
Good question.
I'm releasing next week the full black suit accessory STL bundle, whatever you want to call it.
What?
Yeah, I've modeled the bites, which are the things that she has on the wrists. Yeah, the gauntlets, let's call it that. The backpack, the belt, the harness, pouches and things like that she wears around. So pretty much everything.
Oh. That's bananas.
Yeah, I had a good
time. To your fans.
So yeah, stay tuned.
You're constantly making cool stuff.
I make only the things that I like, or the things that my patrons, tell me to do or told me to do, because they liked it. I normally don't take as many suggestions as I used to because I don't have the time. So I just model everything that I like. So these guys, the Batons.
That's a good way of doing it. Just doing the stuff you like, I think, is there's something to be said for that.
That's why I have
doing
so much
stuff
fun.
That you like.
Yep, and learn so much doing the things that I like. And luckily, I have been able to turn this into a job. So I'm really grateful. And if people like the files, even better.
Wins.
Yeah. I like.
Hey, Fasada. That's what Max says.
Oh yeah.
Which I think I know. I think I understand that.
Yeah.
I think me and my limited Spanish
so cool.
understand that.
That's what it means. So cool.
My Spanish is in fact limited, but not non-existent.
Spanish is a tricky language to learn.
For English speakers, you mean?
Yeah. I think it has a lot of different verb tenses and endings and things that I'm not aware of them because that's my mother tongue. But English, it was easy, at least for me. If I was gonna.
Well, so then okay. Now I'm curious. And I apologize to everyone for the slight language.
That's okay. We talk.
The language misdirect. How many verb tenses are in Spanish?
Let me think about it. So there's the what's it called?
Because I want to know if it's more complicated or less complicated than Japanese, because Japanese has something like 14 verb tenses.
I honestly, I have no idea.
Insane.
I don't know anything about Japanese, so I'm not sure how to answer that. But there's different modes, like the subjunctive and what's the other one called? The one that we normally use.
Oh God, words.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm forgetting what that's called.
The normal mode, anyway. So there's.
Obviously, present tense, past tense.
Yeah.
There's future tense. There's, there's passive. There's,
and there's perfect tenses, but then perfect with hypotheses and there's many of them.
There's a lot.
At least for each mode there are 10.
10?
At least for each mode. So there's 2 modes, and then there's the gerunds and on these things. So it's definitely not easy. And
so it might be similarly complex, with the only advantage to Spanish being the fact that it's not written differently.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have the accent, the tildes and things, but that's about it. It sounds the same way as.
But yeah, it's otherwise written with the same alphabet as English.
Yep.
As opposed to a totally different one.
It is way easier than English. I must say, English. Sorry, it's way more difficult than English. English is easy. it has the same endings, you know, like besides the verb to be and things like that, like, you know, there are a few exceptions, but it's pretty much the same endings, especially if I'm a language, okay, especially if the tenses are perfect. The past participle is the same for every person. In Spanish, it is not.
So do you reckon it is easier to learn English as a native Spanish speaker than it is to learn Spanish as a native English speaker?
It is most definitely easier when you're...
That's your official...
Yep.
Your official stance on the issue?
Yep. I know a lot of American people, English people here in Madrid. They have great Spanish because they've lived there for a few years. And they have gotten it...
Yeah, they've got the experience.
Yeah, right. And they have gotten it really... They've gotten it right. And I'm impressed, like, because I know it's so difficult. So I'm really impressed by that, you know, and because it is very difficult. And sometimes a few mistakes slip, and it's cute, you know, because it's so difficult. But when sometimes they say some idioms or expressions, and I'm like, what? How do you know that?
Some people just pick this stuff up very easily.
I'm lucky that I do.
There's definitely a thing in the brain that some people have and some people don't, and it is just kind of, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things.
Exactly.
And slowly but surely getting the mandible piece to be a little less messy. It didn't print. This is the one piece that had some real struggles printing. And I was gonna reprint it, and then I got distracted and ended up doing something else. So I just was like, I'll fix it up. It's fine. I'll just I'll apply some putty to the parts of it that are full of holes. Yeah. Because that may have happened.
That's good.
I was gonna say you can't really see anymore, but you can kind of see a little bit. Again, if I cover up my dang face, it'll actually focus.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of, there was, basically I had some massive under extrusion on this piece.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't tell you why, it just kind of happened. I've basically just filled it. Just filled the holes and sanding it down. And it's not quite perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, but I think that will, I think it'll give it some charm.
Yeah.
I think it'll be nice.
Wonderful. Yeah. When I ship baton kits to people, the mandibles I do print in resin. When they ask for FDM, I just give those, and I give an extra couple in case they break, because it is tricky to sand them down in FDM.
Yeah, definitely seeing that.
Yeah.
Definitely seeing that.
Can you see if there are any questions? I have the gloves and the paint and all over. Let's see if...
I was gonna say I do not see any questions at the moment, but I may have missed some. I don't think I'm not sure I did. Have I missed anyone's questions? Mm-hmm. Have any of you asked a question that hasn't been answered and would like an answer?
I do have
you have some Instagram questions, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. I do have a few. I've just gotten a notification from my earphones that they said please charge, so I'm gonna see when I get to check how much battery there is left. I might charge them, and I'll just hear you through the computer. I doubt the microphone is going to pick up the sound, and I'll turn it really low so they can't hear it repeated. But I'll check the Instagram questions in a bit after I'm done. Yeah, with this little paint.
I'm amazed that the airbrush isn't louder. I'm surprised at how quiet it is.
Yeah. Oh, see now they actually shut down. Oh no, I can still hear you. Oh, through the earphones.
Oh.
Just one of them. It was one of them that was kind of okay. Just the right ear is whispering at me. Okay. I'll see if I can charge them after I'm done with this little batch of paint. Yeah, so the black space really thin. Yep. I promise that I'll paint the handle black, and then I'll start with the imperfections. You guys are gonna love the next stage. It's so cool. And literally, I've only seen a few people do this. So you're going to be learning a new perspective today. A little extra, you know.
So what other steps do you have on the docket? Because I am noticing that so it has already been an hour and 40.
Oh wow, yeah, that's enough. We're good. I'm gonna do imperfections. Some imperfections. I'll show you what that means on a few pieces. See if I can find here. The one for I'm going to do a few of these. I'm going to basically scratch a few pieces with Scotch-Brite, and it's going to allow us to create those little marks that brushed steel or brushed aluminium have. So this right, I was
gonna say this must be a piece for the other part because I don't recognize this
is the hammer. Yep.
Yes.
So I'm painting it black, and remember, well, you couldn't hear me, so it's not going to make sense. But all polished metals are black. Really, like the color is black. What you see is the color of the reflections, and that's why we do the metallic on top of the black, you know. So what you see is just your reflections tinted in a metallic color. So yeah, that's what really happens. So I'm going to be scratching the surface of the this piece of the hammer that I just showed you with a Scotch-Brite and a drill. And you're going to be able to see now that it starts looking more like a spun piece of metal. And I do this after the black, and you'll see why it makes sense. All right, I'm gonna be done with the black. In fact, what other pieces? Those were drying. I think we're gonna do these first. Yeah, I'm going to clean this. Let's see the IPA. I'm going to clean the airbrush, so guys, really important. Clean the airbrush with IPA. Close it because it will evaporate. And I'm going to check the earphones after I'm done cleaning. So remember, I've got this. A few bubbles. I'll spray a little bit there. Let the fan take that. Like a little fountain happening there. Alright, yeah, that's better. And also, I take, good thing with IPA, it will not dissolve the gloves. Acetone will over time. So I can just get my finger in there and see. Oh yeah, use it to clean the paint in there. Also, you can get a little what's this called, a Q-tip, and get in there, clean it, and that's clean now. Yep.
And that kind of takes care of it.
Yep, it does. So I'll stop the compressor and take my gloves off. I can't touch the pieces now because I have my now my hands are sweaty. I actually brought a few pieces for you to see in gold. Oh, here. So you guys can see this, right? This is one of the tests. Oh. Where's the camera here? This is one of the.
That's very cool.
One of the tests with the gold powder that I did. Let's see how much battery there is in there. It says 100%, I don't know. Anyway, this is the gold powder rub, and Let's see if I turn this light on. There we go. You can appreciate a little bit better, but you can see my finger, you know, on the reflections. It is really, really cool, and it won't go off. Like, this is on there forever. And this is way better than painting with any Arclad gold paint I found, or tinting any clear coats. People do that, they tint the clear coats, and they clear coat with the 2K clear coat over the Alumiluster or any focus or any metallic
I can't believe how good it looks.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I was wow. So I was like, Owen Wilson, wow. But yeah, so waited until it was 80% dry. I could still leave a fingerprint, but it wasn't tacky and anymore. And that's when I rubbed it on. And it looks
so cool.
Yeah, I love it. So this is a piece of the lightsaber, or the Thor lightsaber. Yeah. So this is all right. Yeah. So now I'm gonna have to change the gloves because I don't want to touch them with paint. I don't want to touch the pieces again. Try to recycle the gloves as much as you can. With painting, you can't. So generally, I would use these for cleaning the resin prints, or or any of those other tasks that you can do. But I don't want to have any of my sweat on the prints, because that will mess up the paint job. Like, I can tell you for sure. Oh, that's off. So, what are microsurface imperfections? Well, microsurface imperfections are imperfections that are on the microsurface level. So they're really they're part of the material itself, of how it's formed, how it's made. Like bubbles when you cast the metal, bubbles that are trapped in the mold, or these scratches that you can see on spun aluminium or steel. So I'm going to show you really quick how to make the scratches that go around the cylindrical pieces, because this piece, if it was made out of steel or aluminium, it would have scratches all around it. So that's what we're going to do here. These are still a little bit tacky, so let's see this one maybe. But definitely you want to kind of wait until they're dry. And I'm going to get ready. I'm going to try with a few different things. I bought these Scotch Brite pads.
These are sponges. They're kitchen sponges, yeah?
Yeah. They have a sponge on one end, and they have like this kind of painted fibrous.
Yeah, the scouring pad, I believe is what they're called.
Right. So this will scratch the surface pretty well. So we need that.
That's so clever.
Yeah. Also, I think something that I normally did with steel wool, which can also help. I did it for the Stormbreaker, but you can also use the green one, which is a bit harder on the surface. So we get
yeah.
We can try
the
both.
white's actually supposed to be the non-scratch.
Yeah.
Stuff.
This
like
polishes up. You can polish up a printed piece with this, which in fact I did for the pieces that are steel, or like there's a lot of steel showing. I did that, so it'd be a little bit more polished. So we're going to try different things.
The green is scratchier.
Yep. So I have a leftover piece, or this is a piece that I painted something on, but I'm not using now. So I'm gonna cut it to make a tool, because I did not make one for these, which I did on purpose, so I could show you they can always reuse things, So I'll use this now, and if I need more, I'll print more. And so this goes on either of these, right? So I'm going to see, this one is getting dry. So I'm going to put that there, and I'll place this one on, in fact I'm going to do it the other way. Place it there, right? So now we have an attachment that can go on a drill, right?
Clever.
So yeah, my drill is on the floor. It's heavy, but I'll show you what I mean. So perfect. So this guy goes on here.
Wow, that's quite the drill.
Yeah, it's my dad's. Because he built my house. Shout out to my dad for making this awesome workshop. I'm not going to be able to use it for longer, so I have to make sure I... All right.
Send him my way. Make me a workshop.
That would be dope. All right. There we go. So now, if I press here, see, it spins, right? See?
Whoa.
So...
That sounds scary, heavy duty.
Yeah. So this is right. Yeah. Pretty much. I'm gonna place it on here, and you'll see. Let's try this one first. Let's see. Move the camera a little bit. There we go. So I haven't seen people do this with a drill yet, and not on this stage. So you can see now, probably can't see it yet, but I'm going to use the green one. I apologize for the sound, but now it is a bit more polished, and there are scratches. Let's see if you can see it. Let's see, maybe because of the light. There are scratches. There are microsurface imperfections, so that's why they're hard to see, but the reflections will have a little, that highlight there has a little bit of a scratchy thing going on, right? So let's try and use the green one.
And so doing the scratches in the black means that when you put on the chrome or put on the metallic, that it'll transfer over.
Exactly. In fact, because they were grey before I painted them, right? If I reveal that grey, we'll have that grey over the black showing.
Nice.
That is the actual colour of this piece. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we go.
Cannot get over how serious this friggin' drill is.
Yeah, that's big. There we go. Now it's getting a little bit grayer, but that's what we want. I can see the highlights, and they are distorted, and that's called anisotropic sheen. Once you have the metallic on, you can Google it if you want to, guys. But also another tip for you is to go on the edges harder until you reveal that grey. So when you go with the metallic on top, that will show lighter, because the edges are normally, they're more exposed, so they are a bit roundier, and therefore a bit shinier. So instead of going with the dry brush technique on top of the edges, this is real. This is happening. It's like the property of the object. So
actually capturing the light. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it moves as the light moves. It's not painted on. Oh, really? All right. So there. Okay.
That's fantastic. This is so clever.
So if they were a bit more dry, this would work even better. So guys, what do you think of this technique? Let us know in the comments. This is just scratching the pieces the same way that they would be scratched when they were formed, you know? So you got to go and think back and see how these pieces were made. Right.
you are effectively recreating as close to humanly possible the actual environment kind of the metal in not metal, and that is really cool and not something I think a lot of people really put the time and effort into doing, which
it is necessary. Awesome. Thank you. Right, so I'm gonna show you. Oh, I should have painted the disc of the. Oh, let's do that. There we go. You can see it better now. Let's see. Can you see this now? On the well, it will. They'll be able to tell me in a bit. But now you can see there are scratches on there. It's a good shot to put on Instagram, actually.
Yeah, I think you can kind of see. Right. Yeah, it definitely looks like it has a bit more of a texture to it.
Yeah. So if we go with the alclad on top, now that it's not fully dry, that will be the same way as a powder. It will stick to that layer better. And those little cracks where the grey is showing will be brighter. But now, when I do the 2K on top, it's going to cover those scratches and it's going to be as if we hadn't done it. So what we have to do is go deeper and show the color. We're only caring about the color now. After the 2K as the final coat, after the Illuminaster is dry, we can do the scratches again for the sheen. Okay, so you can see the difference in the sheen now. This will make sense. Tomorrow I'm going to explain how the materials work in depth. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this black, and tomorrow we'll scratch it and paint it, and you'll see.
Yeah, y'all should definitely make sure to try and show up tomorrow too. I may not be here, but there will be another really awesome guest who has his own really awesome, super cool skill set, and it's definitely and like you don't want to miss it for sure.
Yeah, Daryl Off Earth. If you're not following him, go follow him, because that's one of the rules of the giveaway. But you should be, because he's just amazing. He's just amazing.
He does stellar work. Absolutely stellar work.
Yeah.
You said you had some Instagram questions that we needed to look at, don't we?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Because I want to make sure that we have time to cover them before we have to wrap up for the night.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer them now. All right, so let's pull Instagram. Well, in fact, from last week, the ones from last week first. I think I can answer these fairly quickly, and you can answer them too. So I'm looking at screenshots. Yeah. All right. So Kevin from Vex3D asks, hobby shops or stores and sites to buy the good stuff. Well, we just talked about the Alclad paints from in England. You can find them. Not sure if they have like an actual store, but if you Google Alclad 2 paints. I just said Google, and the Google Assistant popped up. Okay. Yeah, so in Spain, Ammo. In the States, any Hobbits shop, I think they have them. And then maybe hardware stores for, steel wool, paintbrushes, things like that they will be using. Airbrushes from Amazon.
I feel like a lot of the stuff I get ends up being from model shops in the UK. Because there's some, I was gonna say, I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head what any of them are called, but I know that like basically kind of all of the, again, the fillers and stuff like that, the glues, the paint thinner, is all stuff that I get from kind of like model shops for like model planes and stuff like that. And they seem to usually have a really nice supply of things. I find that I can get a surprising amount of stuff from online shops that sell 3D printing supplies as well. Like 3D Jake is a good one for Europe, which sells not just filament and stuff, but they also sell paints and accessories and stuff like that too. So they're definitely worth checking out, especially if you're in Europe.
Yeah. I
think we've got some Europeans. So
And I think a question for you, I think you'll be able to answer this better than I can. So upgrades you did to the printer for quality prints.
Yes. So I have a Prusa Mark III S and I have a Creality CR10S Pro V2.
Wow.
My Prusa I've not done any modifications to other than taking really good care of it. But the CR10 I have added a Hemera direct drive extruder with a Volcano hot end, and that has been just amazing. It's been a huge game changer in regards to being able to make really good big prints really fast.
Yeah.
As well as materials I could not have previously done. I haven't actually done TPU in the Creality just yet because I don't actually have a small nozzle for it, so I can only do big prints, and I don't want to do a giant TPU print just yet.
Yeah.
Eventually, give it time. But that has been a really great addition. Other things that can be really nice additions to cheaper printers are things like Capricorn tubing will make your prints so much better. If you are able to upgrade your printer to a main drive that is, I believe, 32-bit instead of 8. I always get the two mixed up, and I do apologize. So that you can have linear advance. That's actually a thing that I'm a big fan of.
I don't even know what that is.
It's one thing that the Prusa has as standard, but it gives you those really nice, crispy edges that are important for fine details. If fine details are important, you want a printer that can do linear advance. So those are great upgrades. Oh, flexible bed plate. I got a Wham Bam for the Creality as well, which I love. I love my Wham Bam. I'm very much a flexible build plate kind of gal, and so if you have a printer that doesn't come with them standard like the Prusa does, adding one with a Wham Bam is totally the way to go because it makes your prints just they stay down when they're supposed to stay down, and they come up when they're supposed to come off.
Yeah,
so
they pop off.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. But they're not cheap. The Wham Bams are not cheap because they're really good steel.
Yeah.
But if you can afford it, it's definitely a thumbs up from me as far as like FDM printer upgrades.
That's a really good.
I could talk about that for ages.
Yeah, that's a wonderful tip. Like guys, to just pay attention to Faye, because that's really smart.
I got the 3D printing know-hows.
Yeah. This is a really good one because Dream Creations kind of talked a little bit about hardest challenge as a maker. What do you think?
Not having enough time.
Yeah, that's the one.
I actually genuinely possibly that, because I there are so many things I want to do, and I have so many projects in my head and so many things I want to make, and not enough time to do them. I am like, it's funny actually, because the flexible filament thing that I mentioned earlier is something that's been on my list for months. It's been on there for months, and I'm only just now getting to it. So like, yeah, more time. That's my biggest challenge. I don't have enough time ever.
Yeah.
Or hands. I don't have enough hands. Like if I could just grow some extra hands, or just have a clone.
I agree so hard. That is the biggest challenge for me. Like I want to do so many things. So many things.
When can I do everything?
Yeah. So many things.
But no, there are other challenges as well. But that's probably the biggest frustration I have, actually, is not having enough time.
Oh, and it's so poetic, but it's so true. Like our time is limited, so we might as well make the best time out of it.
That sounds about right.
The best out of it, yeah. I'm gonna do the 2K on, and then we can leave this for tomorrow. So basically, 2K clear coat means two components. Okay, so it's basically resin, right? That you can shoot out of a paint gun or an airbrush if you thin it down.
Oh.
So basically, this is my effed up scale that I use for the silicone.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
The scale armor.
Daniel commented about your scale. Looking a little manky, and I was thinking that myself.
Yeah, I know Dan. I've known him for a while. He's an amazing guy. Yeah. It's all silicone from the scales, But yeah, so basically, I have two parts here. Part A is a big one. This is a big part.
Big boy.
Yep. So this goes, and then is one part or two parts of this to one part of part B. Part B is a catalyzer. So it just hardens the resin. So I'm going to go in very carefully, as if you were pouring milk. I'm going to do 25 grams of that. So like 12.5 of part B. And this, please, this stinks for a reason. Okay? So ventilation, the fan, the respirator,
Very
okay?
important.
Like, otherwise, you're gonna be dead soon, sorry, but it's true.
Don't be dead, dude.
No.
Don't be dead.
Yeah. You wanna be the hero that survives the journey. Okay, not the one that's killed on the first run. Okay, so I'm gonna go to 30, yeah, 38. So really carefully. Okay, 38. Oh, see, careful. 34. 36. Oh, 37. It's okay if you don't get it right. If you go over it a little bit, it's fine too. And now do your best to clean the mess. This is why it's tricky. It's like when you're pouring milk, you notice that the cap, the pouring spout, if you want to call it that, is moved to one end, to one side, right? That's because you have to take advantage that it is, when you pour it, if the spout is higher, the liquid goes up and it doesn't splash all over. That's why you have to do it that way, which I rushed, and that's why we have this wet paper towel. But that's okay because there was on there, so we didn't get in that a lot of resin on there on the actual cutting mat. But
just a little, just a
little bit, and I'm gonna, yeah. So now that we have to mix it, but the thing is, it is too dense for the airbrush. So what we do, we get universal solvent for resins and things to use this to clean things like that. And I'm going to eyeball it until you get semi-skimmed milk consistency, which is the key for airbrushing. So just a little bit. And now I'm going to mix that and see how thick that is. That's the key to shoot your 2K.
This is so much more science than I expected.
Yeah, that's the key, so you can shoot it with the airbrush instead of a gun, because guns are more expensive. And I have great results. I've had great results so far with the airbrush, and because it's thinner, you don't have that orange peel effect. So really important.
Are y'all learning as much as I am here? Because I'm actually learning a lot.
I'm glad. Like, that's what it's all about. I'm learning a lot about your stuff and printers and your ideas and things, and so really glad to be of some service. All right.
So what consistency are you looking for here then?
Semi-skimmed. When you pour, you tilt it a little bit. You see that it kind of holds it there a little bit on the edge before it goes back. Like this, there's some viscosity happening. I'm gonna do a little bit more. And if you go over,
so you want it pretty liquidy.
Yeah. This is like more liquid than the oil. This is like
okay,
semi-skimmed milk. That's the best way I can describe it, honestly.
Food is a good descriptor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. So cap this too. That stings and it's not good for you.
Not healthy.
Yeah, not healthy. So now I'm going to turn the compressor on again, and I'm going to clear coat some of the pieces. You're going to see the difference instantly, from a matte kind of glossy finish to like, wow, I can see myself in this now. kind of finish.
Instant gloss.
Yeah, it's resin. So resin, it's like an epoxy for the nails, you know.
Okay.
This has been very informative and terribly at painting. Thank you, Making to Learn. I'm glad that you have learned something. Stick around for the next 5 minutes and then we'll end this. I'll show you how to do this, then I'll do the rest. And I'll paint the rest black and then I go to bed. And we do it again tomorrow, but we continue with the painting.
Do it all again.
Yeah. Alright, so now, the compressor. The PSI needs to be higher than art flat. Alright? Higher. So, instead of 15, we're going to go like 20, and we're going to go to 30. Yeah. Oh. 30 psi, 2 bars of pressure. Bars are the international system, so 2 bars of pressure. And yeah. So key when pouring things from a cup, always use cardboard cups, not plastic, because some solvents can really you know, go through the plastic really quickly and can eat up the plastic. So always cardboard.
Interesting. I'm not sure that I would have necessarily thought of that.
Yeah, it's like these are chemicals, so you have to either learn from experience, which has happened to me, or just
or learn from you.
Yeah, or someone that tells you.
Learn from someone else's experience.
Yeah, right. So now let's take this one. The way to apply this, some people do a thin coat and then go and do a wet coat. A wet coat means you kind of go over it like twice until you see it doesn't run, but well, that's like the first one. First pass. Let's see if we can. It's hard to see because of the lighting, but I want to make sure you get to see everything. So if I do this, it just turns into like it's just matte. It's like going lightly, but I'm going to go in a bit closer, and I'm going to overlap 50% of that path with the next one. Right. So now let's see if you can see this. Oh yeah, there was a second there. Now you can see that how that is glossy. You'll see in a second now, Faye. But see that harsh light? That is because of the that's the softbox, right? Showing. If I turn this light on, the one here, that is harsher, you'll be able to see the reflection of that.
But I can also see the scratches, which is interesting.
Yeah. If you have physical scratches, that will enhance it too. Yeah, those might be print lines, might be dirt, but it's okay. I'm going to cover that anyway. So that's the key with clear coat. Everything wants to deposit on top, so just be careful of that.
This is very interesting.
And now it's going to get really foggy in here. But it's okay, I have the respirator on, the window's open, so if you have a thick clear coat, if you use a gun, it might cover some of the details, and also, as if I went too heavy with this, it will gather on the edges and it will make them roundier and like it will clog there. It will just that won't look good. So so the key is just to do a wet coat, but not go over the top with it. All right.
Not go too crazy. Like you want it to be glossy, but you don't want it to be like
runny
mirror finish. Yeah.
It is. It has to be like a mirror, but not. If it's not a mirror, it's because the surface wasn't good enough. This wasn't good enough, but it's good enough for the batons. For the hammer, which I'll be sanding a bit more tomorrow before the live stream. And that's the key. That's the tricky part with these live streams, because everything has to overlap, and so you guys can see everything. But that's one piece there, and I'm gonna do this one so you can see. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah. Also, I forgot about this, but remember to blow with just air on the piece before you apply paint. That helps. Alright, that's good. Another great thing about thinning it down is that if you don't, you mess up with the tolerances. Some pieces might not fit. You have to have that in mind when you 3D model. So if the model is not yours, you don't know. So if you do it thinly, because you have sanded a little bit in the beginning, that will make up for that and it will fit perfectly. That's perfect. Yeah, little tips. It all matters, you know, in the end. See, so that let's do the one that we scratched and see. Well, no, because I don't want to have to repeat that and sand it again. Let's keep continuing with this one. And yeah, guys, this is basically what you do, overlapping 50% of that last pass. And I'm gonna do this piece and then we finish the live stream. So guys, thank you again for tuning in. It's been amazing. Thank you, Faye, for coming with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad that I got to be here for the inaugural episode, the inaugural live stream. That's an incredible honor, and it's been really fantastic to get to meet some of your community and your fans, and hopefully help bring them into my community as well, because I love cosplay and I don't feel like I have nearly enough people who are into prop making and cosplay hanging around me. So the more the better, the more the merrier.
Guys,
and I'm happy to have everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'm happy to be here, and I learned so much. I learned a bunch of things that I did not know before, and that's basically my favorite thing. I'm always just kind of here to learn and absorb new things, and as much as I enjoy being good at stuff, I think I enjoy becoming good at stuff maybe better than being good at stuff. The process of learning and exploring and trying new things is always just one of my favorites.
Yeah,
so
that's the key.
So thank you for sharing all this with us. I think it is the coolest. I'm also noticing that I totally forgot to grab my laptop charger, and it is actually quite close to being dead.
Perfect. Well, we planned it really well.
So my computer is dead.
Yeah, like I feel the same for my earphones, I think. But yeah, like it's been so much fun, and like getting to learn from your tips. Like guys, like follow her if you want to know tips about printing, about time lapses, printing things that are not necessarily props, but like make for good experiences.
I do lots of practical stuff too.
Yeah, like you have a whole workshop that you've printed, you know, like tools. I
do a surprising number of practical prints, given that I'm an artist. Like you'd think that I do a lot more artistic stuff, but I'm obsessed with practical 3D prints and stuff like that. But I definitely do a really weird assortment of things. I draw, I design, I do a dance, you know, like
that's wonderful.
I'm a filmmaker, you know, I'm a mess.
Multidisciplinary maker, yeah.
But I have no time.
Yeah, that's right. I feel the same.
I know I have no time, but
I've always wanted to learn everything on my own, and I was like,
I'm always trying something new, it seems.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know.
But you were very kind. You were very kind to say such nice things about me.
Oh, like you're welcome.
Especially given how skilled you are yourself, and I think everyone joining us today definitely learned new things.
Oh, thank you.
And got to expand.
Touch my feelers.
Expand their own knowledge and mind and stuff.
Yeah, so. And like people in the comments like giving us like tips and things too. Like for example, Daniel said, the thicker the clear coat, the more it's easier to, like the more it will mirror a look because it covers more of the details. So for the hammer, I will do a second coat, so it looks even better. You know, of this thing. Down paint clear coat, but yeah,
it's a different look. Yeah, you're going for a different look.
Yeah, so you try to make the best out of it and just apply these concepts that you learn from everyone, and just everyone has something to share. And as I say, you know, we all have an artist in us, so it's just a matter of awakening that artist, but also
the practicality of things that we learn, the techniques, the engineer in us, also wants to do good work. So just practice that. So I always say, awaken the artist, train the engineer, and that is embedded actually on the Stormbreaker, but on the heart of it. But like that is my life motto. Like really, that's all life is about. Just listen.
But
to
also
people.
have fun.
Yeah,
because that's really
like,
what it's about.
Have fun while doing all of that. Just explore every corner of yourself and see how or where you can take things. Like you never know how many things you're going to learn with everything that you try. So like, yeah. So,
I am in full agreement.
Yeah.
Full agreement.
So guys, again, thank you so much, and it's been so good for both of us. So I hope you guys had a great time, and we'll see you tomorrow at same time, 20 UTC. I'm going to be showing you the material theory, so you learn about the real properties of the metals on the finishes that we're going to be emulating, and yeah guys, like it's going to be so much fun, and I can't wait for tomorrow. So guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow with Daryl of Earth. So guys, again, thank you so much. Thank you, Faye. Give it up everyone for Faye. It's been so good. Thank you so much.